Hi, I'm Lindsay. I play Legacy Magic the Gathering, and I have a lot of opinions on cards. Not card quality, I'm not a great deck builder by my own admission, but I care a lot about what shows up on the cards I use, how they're formatted, the art, the frames used. I am very particular, and I have a lot of opinions on how my decks and other people's decks should look. So, I've decided to take my main Legacy Magic deck, Izzet Delver, and change it from the printings that I have in my paper copy to the worst possible printings. Now, worst, in my definition, would be cards that don't work as Magic cards, whether that be bad frames, bad or distracting art, or really bad formatting that just does not read well. So here I have my exact 60 main deck and sideboard. These are the same printings I have in paper right in front of me. These are all arts that I think, at the very least, aren't bad. Some of these I quite like. I'm a big fan of the Magic 8th Edition frame, so I've got Innistrad Delver of Secrets. But some of these cards have some pretty bad arts. So let's go through and make this deck worse. So starting off with Brazen Borrower, it doesn't really have a bad printing. There's only 4 printings of it overall. There's the base printing, a fancier frame printing, a secret layer, and a special guest. I think the special guest is the worst on the basis I'm not a fan of the angle, but it's not bad. It's fully readable and functional as a Magic card, not an issue. Delver of Secrets has a pretty obvious worst one, and that is this recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Secret Layer one. It doesn't look like a Magic card. It's trying to imitate like a VHS box, but it fails at that. It looks more like a credit card holder. It's just not good. Not what a Magic card should be. It's hard to read. The text is so small at the bottom. Or I think like the artist credit is larger than the actual text on the card, which is a problem. Dragon's Rage Channeler, once again, has the same issue as Brazen Borrower, where there aren't really that many bad printings of it. I actually quite like the Secret Lair one, and the Eternal Weekend one is pretty cool, but those are they're not bad. They're not what we're going for. I think the retro frame, the Time Shift from Modern Horizons 2, looks bad because most of the modern retro frame cards just seem off. There's something wrong about the color. It feels like a half-step imitation of what an old Magic card should look like. Murktide Regent has the same issue as Dragon's Rage Channeler. There's not really any bad printings of it. The Secret Layer drop is probably the worst. It's once again like Brazen Borrower at a weird angle. I know people like this because this is Arita, one of the artists from Pokemon who everybody loves. It just doesn't do much for me. And Tamiyo also has not any bad printings of it. I think the worst of them is the base Modern Horizons 3, just because the other ones are better and the backside doesn't look great. Moving to the rest of the deck is where things get rough. Ponder has it has some Universes Beyond ones that look kind of like slop. There's an Avatar, there's a Marvel one. There's some nice ones. I like the Future Sight frame. I like this white border. But this Secret Layer one is bad. It has a frame that doesn't fit a Magic card. It's readable-ish, but it just looks... It's not what a Magic card should be. Preordain has some of the same issues as Ponder, where, yeah, there's some Universes Beyond printings that I'm not a fan of from franchises I couldn't care for. But there's a big Secret Layer one that just breaks the formatting of a Magic card and overall looks not what a Magic card should look like. The art's fine. It just, a Magic card shouldn't look like this. A Magic card should look kind of like this. Now going down here to Brainstorm. Brainstorm doesn't have a frame error one that just looks bad. It just has some poor arts and some bad Universes Beyond franchises. There's a Secret Layer from Baldur's Gate, there's an Avatar, there's a Spider-Man, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. The worst will probably have to be this Spider-Man one. I would put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, however, I love the coloring at the top. And if it was any in universe Magic character on it, I would probably have these instead of my Future Sight frame ones. So this Secret Lair Spider-Man one, the black and white one's probably worse. They're both bad. Days is a card that there's a Secret Lair printing that people don't like because it is a Universes Beyond franchise. However, I use that print in my deck. So, ignoring the SpongeBob one, the worst one has to be the Amonkhet Invocations. It's difficult to read. Yeah, anyone who's playing this card probably knows exactly what Days does and can recite its Oracle text perfectly, but it's just visually not great. It's a little hard to see the mana cost. So, something like, if someone has an Eidolon of the Great Revel down and someone casts this and they don't know what Days does or what its mana value is, it could cause some confusion. Force of Will is going to have the same issue where there's no crazy text lists or Universes Beyond ones, but there is a Amonkhet Invocations that messes with the frame. The art's cool. The text is a little more readable than Days because it has a line or two less, but the mana value and the name being obscured is just too much. Lightning Bolt has a lot of Universes Beyond cards that don't work. I am torn about what one is the worst. A lot of Secret Lairs. It's an iconic card, and while the framing on this Secret Lair one that makes it like pixel arty is bad, the Avatar one's probably the worst. It's hard to read. The art's mediocre. It's not really quite a lightning bolt. It's just a person on it. Unholy Heat doesn't have any strange printings. It's got a special guess. It's got a white border. The time shift is the worst on the basis that the frame just looks a little off. It's not bad. The artwork's the same on most of the prints. It's alright. Quarry Steelcutter, unfortunately, once again, the same issue. It's only got 2 arts, and I happen to really like this full art one. So the base rarity one is the worst on the basis that I don't like it as much as the other. Mishra's Bauble, it's going to have the same issues. There's a Secret Lair. Secret Lair looks fine. The artwork's the same. The Secret Lair probably is the worst because it's like the least from the art. It's not really a bauble. It's kind of like a point of view shot. I don't know. Not a fan. Lands. There's the Khans of Tarkir Flooded Strand is probably one of my favorite card arts on any Magic card. So any divergence from it is bad. I think the Retro Frame Modern Horizons 3 is the worst because it has artwork that isn't the Khans version and a frame that just feels a little off. Island, there's a pretty serious offender. There's a lot of bad lands. I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pizza Island is one of the worst. It's disgusting to look at. It doesn't really tell me it's an island. If someone played this, I would assume it's a food token and not an island if I couldn't see the text. A card like this should not exist and should never have been printed. Misty Rainforest doesn't really have any bad printings, so the Retro Frame one ends up being the worst because it just looks off compared to other Retro Frame cards. Same with Scalding Tarn. It's just doesn't the modern Retro Frames do not do it for me. Thundering Falls, the worst art is the default art. There's only 2 arts for it. It's fairly recent, and I do like the borderless one. So the base art is the worst, but it's still a good looking card. Volcanic Island has 1 printing that is the worst, and that is the Retro Frame 30th Anniversary. Not only does it look washed out, blurry, it's an old frame that doesn't look right, it's a non-tournament legal proxy that costs $500. They never should have printed cards like this. They never should have printed Magic 30. It was a mistake on every level, and I think it's the worst Volcanic Island. Wasteland has a recent printing from the Secret Lair Countdown that just looks bad. It's like a not great movie poster with a bunch of Magic characters on it. The formatting's off. It just doesn't look right. Magic cards should not look like this. It's hard to read. Yeah, I can tell you what Wasteland does. I wouldn't be caught dead playing this one. Blood Moon, unfortunately, has some bad printings. The Secret Lair drop that just moves things around. It's not good. Magic card shouldn't look like this. Force Negation has a Final Fantasy promo, but it's Japanese only. I feel like that's not fair to include, even if I'm not a fan of it. It does evoke the artwork from the normal Force Negation a little bit, and it does change the name. I can't read what the name changes, but the Avatar one is just bad. It's a low quality screenshot. It looks blurry. It doesn't look like it should be Force of Negation. Draft Digger's Cage has a pretty bad Secret Lair printing, where once again, the formatting on the Magic card is mixed up. For some reason, there's text at the top where the name usually goes, with creature cards in graveyard libraries can't enter the battlefield, and then it splits it to be underneath the card name. This is a badly designed Magic card. The art's fine. Magic cards should not be formatted like this. Hydroblast doesn't have any bad printings. The Eternal Masters one is probably the weakest because it doesn't really look like a Hydroblast. It kind of just looks like a guy surfing. But it's not bad. I'd still play with this in my deck if I didn't have Future Sight ones. Meltdown. Meltdown has a Secret Lair printing that doesn't look good. How is this Meltdown? It's burning, not melting. I don't think that those cabbages are artifacts. The card's just bad. Norod only has one printing. Reserve list cards, so there's not going to be any other art for it. There's not going to be another frame on a paper card. Just have to leave it at that. I quite like it. Price of Progress has another one of these bad Secret Lair prints that is just hard to look at. The flavor text is centered around the art. The name is surrounding the artwork. The mana value is split up with a card type in between the mana value. It just, once again, Magic card should not look like this. Pyroblast has a signature spellbook printing that looks pretty bad. I already am not a fan of the security seal at the bottom of the card, and changing the shape of it to give it a very limited run frame just doesn't do it for me. The artwork is kind of cool, but the frame just kills any interest in the card for me. I'll stick to my older ones. Stifle has some Secret Lairs, and it's also got a Invocation. I think, as much as I'm not a fan of Secret Lairs and other franchises in Magic, the Invocations is harder to read, and is therefore the worst one. Surgical Extraction has some bad Secret Lair. Once again, I think the colored version of this is not great. Magic cards shouldn't look like this. Magic cards should not have another franchise's character on it, especially not Venom or a Spider-Man character. Just doesn't fit the game. I don't feel like I'm playing Magic when I see a card like this. I feel like I'm playing Fortnite.